Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this morning's edition of the Pizza Inn Saturday Morning Kickoff Show, live here from Pizza Inn in Greeneville. As you can see, I actually have people on set with me again this week. It's a return of my co-host, Mark Brooks. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful this morning, Tyler. How are you?
I'm doing well, and we got a special guest with us today.
A very special guest.
We got Coach T from North Green. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing better than I deserve, as John Ramsey says.
You had a great night last night on defense. I want to jump right into it. North Green was able to get a 22-20 win over Unaka, jumping into the playoffs, moving up to the third seed essentially and locking that in. You had an amazing second half. Right out of the gate, you were able to score you were able to score on special teams, and then had an interception that turned into an offensive touchdown one play later. What happened at halftime that allowed you to turn that around in the second half?
Really, we didn't make a lot of adjustments. We just went in and talked to them about their alignment and assignments. We were just off a little bit. Got to hand it to Unaka. They're a well-coached team, good offense. They brought out a couple of surprises, and he always brings some wrinkles out in his offense. Actually, his quarterback that he started out with, he had moved it to H. You know, when they did the toss to the H, then they'd throw it back to the other quarterback. And has a wrinkle that you hadn't seen before in film. But I was proud of our guys. They adapted. They didn't play perfect, but they adapted well, and didn't really let them get any big plays on us.
Yeah, Eric talked about it after the game last night. He said you had the quarterback throwing to the running back, and the running back throwing to the quarterback, and the old quarterback throwing to the new quarterback. He said he was just like his head was spinning around on a swivel.
Yeah, it was, but that's what I really love about the defense we're running this year. It's really a simple defense, and as long as they read their keys and play their assignments, really you can throw about anything at it, and it's going to be balanced and cover. You know, we like to show them a lot of film and stuff, and they did throw the Emory and Henry lineup out there against us last night, and I was proud of our guys for handling it real well. Actually ended up getting an interception off of it. But you can't account for everything. But if our guys play their assignments, then this defense will pretty much take care of itself.
Colton Robbins, I mean, what a game from him last night. That might be the best game that he's ever had in a North Green uniform. He had the strip fumble touchdown. He had the punt block that was returned for a touchdown. He had a 2-point conversion on Yeshua's touchdown after Thomas's interception. I think I counted it up. He accounted for 14 of North Green's 22 points last night.
And he had a touchdown call back. Let's not forget that on an illegal touching call that was, I'm going to say, questionable at best.
How impressed were you with how Colton played last night?
Well, Colton, you can count on Colton. He's done that all year long. But last night was a really above and beyond night. He's graded out at the top about every week. You know, there's very seldom anybody grades out any higher. And so really proud of Colton. I'm actually proud of all of it. Our defensive line, Colton and Ethan White and Caleb Fields come in, hadn't played all year. Really didn't practice, but noticed it on scout team this week that he was just giving us trouble. And so his performance in practice this week led to him going in, and he played really well last night.
And you spoke about how the interception was the Emory and Henry play. I'm sure Eric was pretty used to seeing that play.
Yeah, it really helped since he went to Emory and Henry. And you know, we kind of knew about that ahead of time. But, you know, there's so many different ways they can come out and line up with that. I was proud of our guys that counted and got in the right place and played it the way we had to play it.
Well, let's don't forget now, Colton had the touchdown call back. He was also had a sack in there on defense, and he put pressure on the quarterback a couple of times. I mean, the kid had I guess you'd call it the game of his career so far. If he's not the player of the week on some platform, somebody's had a heck of a ball game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go in. You think about it. He scored twice either on special, once on special team,
teams,
once on defense,
and once on offense.
and was a lot of the calls of the other
Exactly.
touchdown calls that
And blocked 2 punts.
blocked 2 punts. I mean, he was always putting pressure on when they ran wide and stuff. He'd run them down outside. So he's just
I was impressed with his speed.
very special. He's actually one of the fastest kids on the team when we time them up, and that's what's really been nice about this defense this year. We've got some speed out there. Don't always have size other teams have, but we've got some speed.
And then I was impressed with his stature. He's a little bigger out of uniform than he is in his uniform.
Yeah.
He was he 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah,
Probably
he's
close
about
to 200 pounds.
close to 200,
And
we're running about that, which for most 1A teams, it's pretty decent.
that's a pretty decent size, yeah. Because in uniform, I guess maybe it's the number 6. He doesn't look to have that size, and so you see him move. He looks probably a little smaller than what he is. So he's got a little speed with him. He's got some agility. He's a pure athlete. He's got this baseball body, like I guess you call it. But all I can tell you is the kid came to play last night.
He did. And he started out. It was going to be a good night when he made that first pass catch in that first series, and it dove for that ball and got under it. And that was a big first down to kind of move us out away from the goal line and give a defense a chance. Coach Tilson every once in a while likes to get aggressive and go for it on their side of the field.
Sure, yeah.
So, defensive guys sitting up there saying, come on, guys.
But now he's got that slant route down pat.
Yes.
Because on the 2-point conversion.
That was almost a gift.
Oh, yeah, I've not been blessed with the gift of prophecy, but I saw that coming.
I did too.
Yeah.
I was standing right there on the pylon, and he gave him about 5 to 6 yards of separation.
Well, Coach Vaughn does a good job with the offense, and gets the kids lined up in a way that helps create that separation. Kind of like another team down the road here likes to use as much of the football field as he can to help out, get the advantages that we need to be successful in what we're doing.
Did you start adding more pressure to the quarterback in the second half?
A little bit.
I thought I'd noticed.
Not a lot. We first little bit. I think our players. We've never been a fast starting team, and Unaka has been. They get off to a good start, and we noticed that in past in a lot of their games. You get toward the end of the game, they tend to fade a little bit. So we knew that if we just hang in there and play, and our guys got believing it. Plus, we had a couple of guys that were out earlier in the week that we didn't start. We had to start some freshmen, which good freshmen, but it's never good to start a freshman.
You're talking about freshmen now. I seen that number 20, Leon Johnson. Now that kid almost took over in the second quarter. 3 straight plays. he had a tackle for a loss, a sack, and a quarterback pressure, which led to an interception.
Yeah, Leon was one of those freshmen that are, he's been starting from the first of the year. I don't really consider him a freshman anymore with the amount of games he's got under his belt. Now, he still has some learning to do, but he does an awesome job. That's another guy that can run. He does it. All of our linebackers are good. He allowed us to move Yeshua outside the linebacker, which helped contain teams. Because the one thing that we did struggle with was containment, and since we was able to make that move and Leon play that Mike linebacker, we've kind of settled the defense down.
But now he's listed at 155 pounds. on the field, he looked bigger than that. Is that a misprint?
No, it's not a misprint. You know, he's an instinctive player, plays wide open.
Yeah, his motor was running.
He doesn't mind contact, and that's my kind of player.
Okay.
I like players that like.
He's
contact.
on your short list.
Yes, you know, we like to get him out there. You know, we had some older guys have been playing earlier in the year. Brandon Weems come in and did a phenomenal job. Our cornerbacks, we ask a lot of them. Most of the time, they're out there on the island by themselves, and they did not hurt us, except for one play or there in the second half, and we were in position. We just stopped our feet.
Okay, would you say this game last night was more special teams, or would you say it would have been more defense? Because the offense kind of sputtered a little bit. They played well enough to win and get the job done when they needed to. But I was sitting here on the way home last night, and I'm thinking, well, was this game more won by the special teams, or was it by the defense, or was it just like a gel of the two?
I think it's more of a gel of everything coming together. Offense did enough. You think about it, they come in and got the extra points there, the two-point conversions when we needed them. You know, one time Thomas Darnell made a heck of a run to get that last 2-point conversion there. And we knew at that time that was going to be big after they had hit that last big play on us there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because essentially they had to score twice to beat you.
Right. And so we knew that the extra point following their last touchdown was going to determine a lot for us. And felt good about being able to keep them out of the end zone on the extra points. And our guys just made phenomenal plays.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I'm good with it.
Last question I had for you also was how important was this win for the program? Because this is Eric's third year in the program, third straight year that you're going to the playoffs now. You beat a Unaka team that's coming off of the best season that they've probably had in their program's history. This is a culture-changing win, I would say. How important is it in your eyes?
Well, I think it's pretty important. You know, the kids have to learn to trust the process. We preach that all the time. You got to trust the process. And so now they can start seeing some of the benefit of their working hard in practice and practicing the way you have to. And, you know, and we've been so close. You know, we're 2 or 3 plays in the other game. Our record should be better than what it is, but we made enough mistakes that it's not. But with this win, I think that gives them confidence in what they're doing, and they can rely on that process that we go through every week to come up with a victory on Friday night.
Well, now Tyler said this helps out the program. Does a win like this help you get maybe 2 more, 3 players out for football next year? Because how many did you dress last night? Right around 22, 23. Does this help get maybe 2 or 3
Well,
more kids out for football?
we certainly hope so. You know, it's kind of like if you win, they're going to come to you.
Right.
You know, if you look at winning teams, they don't have to go out and recruit and do all that stuff. They want kids want to be a part of something that's good.
Right.
And so every time we can win, and we've got a special group of sophomores coming through, and if we can just keep adding to that and building on that, you know, had 3 seniors on defense last night. You know, everybody else was freshman or sophomore. So, you know, next year we should, you know, take another step.
Well, I know you're partial.
I am.
But answer this question not as dad. Has Eric got this team going in the right direction?
Well, we believe so. You know, like I said, we thought this year could be a very special year, and it can and still can. Because now that we're in the playoffs, and now that you know at the end of the year, you're a new season. Right. So you know it's win or go home, So it don't matter what your record is. When the playoffs start, you can go as far as you want to go.
That's my favorite thing to say every year. Everybody's 0-0.
Yes.
It's a brand new season when you get into the playoffs. The good news is you're already locked in there. Even better news, you win in week 10 against Cosby. You get that 3rd seed. You essentially avoid going on the road to Coalfield. Get an easier route as the 3 seed, Mark. Unless you have anything else, that's all I've got.
It's an honor and a pleasant pleasure to sit here in your presence, especially with that big smile on your face.
Well, it's a lot easier to come in after a win like last night and smile. We do appreciate your coverage and everything you do. We appreciate Malone's Regular Service supporting Eric and his TV show, it's good to see that these kids get the coverage they do. And you know, I'd never thought about when I was playing, or even when I was coaching some of your guys here, that football would have had the coverage they did now. And when sometimes you just can't make it to the game. And, you know, Kim folks always like
and
it.
that was a game, and you can still go back and watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
And replay and watch it. If you don't have time to watch it, you can go on and read about it. All the stuff's there available to you. But man, and even if you were there or you watched it, it might be when you want to watch again.
Well, actually, I tell you what, last night I went home and rewatched it.
I did too.
I did too.
Because you get there and you're focused in the process of calling the game and stuff. And of course, I watch film, and our film's a little different. It's a little different. I wanted to see what the commentators are saying, and all that, and just have a little fun, with what's going on with it.
And I'm sure I felt like you last night. It's a lot different when you watch the game above the field.
Yeah.
Because usually when you're down there on the field, things look a lot more different than they do above. And there were a few plays that you can't see the opposite side of the field that you're able to see in those broadcasts. So I'm glad we all three went home and watched that game last night after it was over. But, Coach, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you for coming through. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to cover North Green also. And their huge 22-20 win over Unaka last night. We'll jump into a break real quick and cover the only other team that played within the county last night on fall break here on Grassroots Media.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greeneville.
The friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pawn can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pawn is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pawn help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greeneville, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing has provided professional plumbing services to the residents of Greeneville, Tennessee for over 30 years. Our experience and reputation have helped us grow our business to add locations in Jonesboro, Tennessee. Tommy's Plumbing is local and family owned, and we offer a full line of plumbing services, such as kitchen faucet, shower faucets, commodes, and bathroom faucets, as well as drain cleaning. We also provide outside plumbing work, such as septic and sewer drain cleanouts, as well as repair and replace. Tommy's Plumbing pretty much does it all. Tommy's Plumbing is licensed, bonded, and insured. Our quality workmanship and passion to provide our clients with expert service is second to none. We guarantee we have the best warranty around. For all your plumbing needs, give Tommy's a call at 638-3662.
Hometown Realty of Greeneville is selling Greeneville and Greene County 1 yard at a time. Every coach knows making the right call is what makes his team successful. If you want success in moving your real estate, get the home field advantage. Make sure to make the right call. Call Hometown Realty and Auction of Greeneville. Hometown Realty offers you professional service with local hometown people you know and trust. Call Hometown Realty of Greeneville today, 423-639-2345.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Saturday Morning Kickoff Show, live here from Pizza Inn in Greeneville. We just had Coach T from North Greene in the first part. We'll go ahead and cover South Greene in this part. It's a weird week with it being fall break. Only 2 county teams playing.
Yeah, no, it just feels kind of. But the deal is, we had 2 awesome games.
That's true. It kind of felt dull going in.
3 points separated it.
Yes, you kind of feel dull going in because you're like, well, you've only got 2 teams within the county playing. A lot of teams throughout Northeast Tennessee were off on their bye weeks.
There were very few players.
We had 3 of 5 within our county alone that were on bye weeks, let alone the other counties throughout the state. But, I mean, we were gifted with an exciting week of football.
Yes.
North Greene's game was exciting. South Greene's game came down to the final 30 seconds of the matchup.
Well, North Greene's game came down to the final
2
drive
minutes,
because North Greene, took a knee to end it, but right before that, it was the final drive.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got 2 games going down to the wire. What more could you ask for?
That's correct. And South Greene was able to hold on in theirs 20-19 win over Eagleton. They escaped with a win last night, and boy, I bet they're glad they were because they've been a little banged up this week, and to go in there, that's hard to overcome, too. When you've got 2 of your players out, 2 of your more talented players also that you've relied on a lot, that's hard to go into them. For them to be able to come out with that win, too, that, I think, just shows the resilience that South Greene has as a team, that they don't back down and they find ways to win, and they find players that will step up in those moments.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but Coach Sean Jones
Excellent ball coach.
Didn't start doing this yesterday.
Yeah.
He knew what he had in front of him, and he prepared his team for it. And preparation's everything. Look at it, got him a W.
Mm-hmm. Dion Blair, what a night he had too. He was everywhere. 8 catches, 101 yards with a receiving touchdown, 27 rushing yards with a rushing touchdown. Also had an interception on defense. I think he's their player of the game right there.
He had a pretty good one himself.
But without Dion in that game, I don't know if they win, but credit to him. Magnificent game from Dion. You've seen him have games like that. But for him to shine in a moment like that where they really needed him with 2 of their players out in an important regional matchup, he stepped up and did what they needed to do and able for them to come out with a win.
Yes, he normally steps up on defense. I've seen him step up on defense before. But last night he just put the team on his back and willed them to victory. Maybe he's not used to being the star on offense, but he showed he can be. Mm-hmm. And again, Coach Jones didn't start doing this last week. He knows, and he picks and chooses and prepares for the week. The preparation is everything.
Speaking of stars on offense too, Jacob Susong, he had the go-ahead score with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left from the 23-yard line. And overall in the game, 13 for 16, 137 yards and a touchdown. You've seen him progress a lot and mature a lot in his second season as a starter. And I think he's developed into the quarterback that they expected him to be.
Yeah, he has. He's stepped it up a notch. Last night, the numbers were pretty good, pretty favorable. But when you get a touchdown late in the game like that, instinct really starts kicking in. So it's more about, you don't have time to trust your talent. You just trust yourself. You know, and these kids are talented, or they wouldn't be out there. But you know, when it comes down to the last 4 minutes of a ball game, you have to have trust in yourself.
Let's talk about the biggest play of the game too: the 2-point conversion for Eagleton.
I got to thinking about that on the way here today. What is the call when you score late like that? And we know Eagleton's got a kicker because he already hit 2 field goals and an extra point.
Yep.
So you know they got a kicker. He's got a tie in his pocket. Do you go for the win at home or do you go for the tie? I mean,
it's one of those situations.
I go for the W, and I think most coaches at home go for the win. And you know, and again, and that, you know, I know coaches run this through every scenario through their head during the week.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just sitting here wondering, did that scenario ever run through Coach Jones's head, and he knew exactly what was coming and exactly what to do?
Well,
that would be a question for you to ask him during the show this week.
I know who did know what was coming. Keyshawn Ingram.
Yeah, Keyshawn Ingram knew what was coming.
He stopped him half a yard short.
Yep.
I think it was with 28 seconds left. He made the game-saving tackle.
It's a game of inches.
It is. And Keyshawn stopped him inches of the chalk, saved that game for South Green. Important game that when you think about it in hindsight, if it goes either way, how much that shakes up that conference.
The playoff implications.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
They are still in the driver's seat to finish first if they are able to go into Hampton and beat Hampton. You lose that game, you essentially could position yourself to finish third. And I haven't looked as close, but with Eagleton, they may have positioned themselves to finish third and move South Green back to fourth if Eagleton comes back on top. Because there's a chance that each team finishes 3-2, and Eagleton has the head-to-head advantage over them.
It was almost the same scenario at North Green. So you had 2 big games with playoff implications. It was a great night for football.
It was, and South Green was able to come out on top, save that game in the end. And we spoke about it last night. You only have 2 games in the county, but who expected them to be 2 of the most exciting games throughout the year?
Yeah.
I mean, North Greens came down to the wire, and it was great that we had everybody there, and it was a great turnout because we were all there to witness such a program-shifting win. And then South Green going on the road, first time they've ever seen Eagleton.
Oh, yeah.
First time that these 2 programs have ever played each other. It's going to be a remarkable day that you remember because you always remember a first.
And tell me about the facility at Eagleton.
Nice facility. Brand new press box.
So they had
2-story air conditioned turf field.
Were they intimidated a little bit by the atmosphere, you think?
I don't know if the atmosphere would intimidate
I don't know
you as
if
much
intimidated
because
is the right word.
It's
but
not.
If they were, I don't know, just in awe of the atmosphere. Is it? I've not been there.
I won't say it's intimidating because the fans aren't on top of you like some venues. There's a track that separates them in between, but they've been used to turf before. That's one thing I'd mention to Coach Jones this week. It's not new to them. It's new to some teams, but they practiced at Gatlinburg Pittman and at Northview over the summer. They played at Seymour last year. So those players are used to turf. I don't think the turf bothered them any, and I don't know if per se it was an intimidating atmosphere. They were shook by their atmosphere, but you know as well as I do, when you go on the road and play, it's a lot harder to play at home.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot harder to play on the road anywhere.
On the road, it is. Because, even though you got your cheerleaders and you may have your band and you got the moms and dads and a few extra fans, it's not like being at home. You didn't have to take that long bus drive. You know what's going on in the locker room. You know where to go use the bathroom and all this stuff. You got a lot of stuff on your mind when you're playing off on the road. And you've had to, like I said, you've had to take that long bus ride. There's a lot of things there that can dampen your spirits, I guess.
Here's another thing. I don't know if you had known this. This is the first time South Green's left the county this season.
Is that right?
They've had all home games plus 2 road games against Chucky Doak and West Green. They have not left the county.
Wow.
Until their 8th game of the season against Eagleton. At home versus Crockett, Union County, Cumberland Gap, Seymour, Happy Valley, and then on the road against Chucky Doak and West Green.
So they've made the most of their opportunities.
Yep. And their last 3 weeks, they have to go on the road. They went to Eagleton this week, as we talked about. They travel to Granger next week, which is going to be a tall task. And then the tallest task of them all, they travel to Hampton to close out the
I'll save the
season,
best for last.
which now sets up the Region 1 2A championship with last night's win over Eagleton. That's the matchup that TSSAA expected, putting it in Week 11. And it could potentially turn out to be for that, because if South Green wins, they win the conference outright.
It's at Hampton?
Yes, it's at Hampton.
At Hampton.
Because if South Green, we'll get into this right now. If
Well,
South
they
Green,
can win on the road. We
Yes.
see this. So
and they've won at Hampton before. That's nothing new to them. If they win at Hampton, they finish 4-1. Hampton finishes 4-1.
but they had to hit.
Happy Valley finishes 4-1. Three-way tie for first. Hampton would have a win over Happy Valley. Happy Valley would have a win over South Green. South Green would have a win over Hampton.
What's the next tiebreaker?
The next tiebreaker is overall record.
South Green.
South Green has the overall record, because I think if they beat Hampton and still lose to Granger, if that's a possibility, they finish 8-2. Hampton already has 2 losses. Happy Valley already has 3. So if they beat Hampton, that puts them at 3 losses. Happy Valley wins out. They're at 3 losses. South
So
Green
this
stays at 2.
non-conference game coming up has conference implications.
Yes, potentially, but not potentially, because even if they lose it and beat Hampton, they finish with 2 losses, and if they beat Hampton, that puts them at 3, and Happy Valley could win out, and the best they go 7-3.
But if they beat
So
Granger, they can
regardless,
finish at 9-1.
9-1.
And there'd be no question.
If you beat Hampton, there's no question. Regardless, you beat Hampton, you're the conference champions. That's exactly what they've had their eye on all year. It's what Hampton's had their eye on. It's what the TSSAA had their eye on, putting it in Week 11. Going back to North Green, we didn't talk about that, but they host Happy Valley next week. They brought that into mind.
Yes.
So you're going to see the team from 2A play the team from 1A.
So South Green may be North Green's biggest fan.
Potentially, it'll help them. Or Hampton, too, for that matter, because Hampton could potentially be in a tie for second place
Yeah.
if Happy Valley wins out and they lose to South Green. So,
Well,
yeah,
there's
you've
a
got
lot-
some
A lot of
teams.
things to think about.
You've
this-
got some
this
teams
week.
in Greene County and Carter County that are going to pay attention to that game, too. Those
Yes.
2 games have a lot of ties to them. South Green playing Granger, though, that's a tall task for them. I don't
Is it
believe
at Granger?
it is at Granger.
Now, I've not been to their facility.
I haven't either.
I've seen it from when I did
Mhm.
some basketball games. I've seen it. From what I've talked to people about and understand, it's a very nice facility. But I think Granger is, let's say they're down this year.
They're in a down period.
Yep.
But regardless, it's still a 4A school.
Correct. They still have 80 kids
Yes.
out for football or something.
And you looked at it a few weeks ago. South Green played Seymour. People were telling everybody, like, they're 0-6. Like, South Green shouldn't be scared of them. But then you look at it, they're a 4A school. They're dressing out 50 players on the sideline.
Exactly.
South Green, I don't know exactly how many players they got on the sideline, but just by the eye test, it looks like Seymour's doubling them.
Exactly.
Same for Crockett. Crockett goes in there as a 5A school, probably almost tripling what South Green has. Crockett's probably got close to 70 or 80 players over there on the sideline, and South Green beats them both. So it's no surprise that South Green can beat these 4A and 5A
Oh,
teams.
no.
And they have the opportunity to do that again this
See,
Friday
they got
night
a
when
lot
they
of
play
talent up
Granger.
on Rebel
They
Hill
do.
this year. I mean, you don't have like the standout All-American, but you got several guys that are capable of making all conference,
Mhm.
and by leading the conference, you know that's what you would expect.
You got a couple players that might have a chance to make All-State.
Yeah.
I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it back so hard. But I don't know if we have any. Do you have anything else on South Green?
No, I don't.
If you want to talk about some other county teams that didn't play this week, we can to close out the show. I know
Right.
Chucky Doe, West Green, and Greeneville had the week off. Greeneville, they're coming down to their last 2 weeks with 2 important conference games.
Yes.
They've got Northview and they've got Elizabethton.
The Northview game, again, that's another great facility.
It is.
I've been there, and it's a great facility. I don't really foresee Greenville having a problem there
I don't either, but
because they play on turf. They are ranked in the state, and
Mhm.
you know they're as usual. They're the only thing I see that might get in their way is if they're looking forward to Elizabethton.
yes, You cannot overlook Northview because Northview is
right.
maybe in the best year that they've had in program
So
history.
I'm thinking, they shouldn't have a problem with them unless, and I'm sure Coach Bradlin's going to be preaching. Don't let the unless bother you.
I've already talked to him
Look at this
about it.
one game season.
I've already spoken about it. I know everybody's looking towards Elizabethton, and he's even told me himself, you cannot overlook Northview. Because if you look too far ahead against Elizabethton, you could potentially slip up and ruin that opportunity with a loss to Northview.
Right. Even if they do go beat Elizabethton. If you slip up, you've run a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure he's preaching that all week long. It's just, but still yet, coaches can preach and preach and preach and preach. But it's still a possibility.
Yeah.
It's still a possibility. And you see it happen all the time in high school, college, pros, wherever you have a tendency to do that. And it's human nature.
Yeah.
But again, you go back to self-discipline.
West Green's playing a team in that 4A conference this week, too. They play Sullivan East.
Well, Sullivan East is
Very pass-heavy.
pass-heavy, but they're they're not the what we've seen from them in the past. What we've seen from them in the past, they've always been not number one in the state, but they've always had a 7-3 record, better than 500.
Playoff team most
Playoff
years.
team, yes. And I think they're a little down on that. But then again, you still got 2A versus 5A, and there you go. You're dressing out 50 kids compared to 30. The attrition rate's going to go way down. Something to look at. I'm sure Evans took this week to mend fences. I guess not fences, but mend bones and bruises. Because
They
his
are
bye
beat
week,
up.
They're beat up.
They're very beat up.
This bye week comes at the right time for him.
Perfect time. And we even talked about that this week. It was so bad in the Hampton game that I can't remember the exact position, but they were so banged up, I don't think they could have punted it because their long snapper got hurt and they didn't have anybody that could long snap. Like, they are beat up. So this bye week came at the honest, perfect time for West Green going into that, and I believe it's their senior night too. When they host Sullivan East, I believe it's their senior night. Yes, their final game will be against Happy Valley, and I believe it might be on the road against Happy Valley. And boy, what a game that is!
Yeah, that one.
They need that.
They
game.
need that game.
They need that
Because
game over Happy Valley because
they don't have a playoff spot sewed up.
They don't. With that win over Happy Valley, I think you could potentially get one. I'd have to look, but they need that one.
And it's at Happy Valley?
I believe so.
Have you ever been to Happy Valley?
I have.
It's not a friendly environment.
It's not. No.
It's just it's. I mean, it's a great.
It has
facility. It's just not a friendly environment.
Have you been to Happy Valley?
Well, yes.
Have you covered a game? Have you filmed a game there?
Yeah, we filmed a game there a few years ago.
It is my least favorite press box to go to. And
You actually were the one running the camera the last time we broadcast there, and you had
What?
people all around you.
Was it the game again? I did two up there. South Green last year and Chucky Doak there 2 years ago. It is my least favorite press box because I don't know if you've ever climbed on top of that press box. You walk up, it feels like 50 stairs to get up there. It might be 25 to 30, but it feels like 50 going up there because you walk the entire way. It feels like 2 to 3 stories up there. It's a long hike. But they've got Happy Valley at the end of their year. Chucky Doak, the last team we need to cover. They've got an interesting game this week with a team that came off of an interesting game this week themselves. They traveled to Unicoi County, who had a little bit of trouble this week with Claiborne.
They did, didn't they?
I don't know if many of us expected Unicoi to have the trouble that they had with Claiborne. Nonetheless, they came out with a win.
That just goes to show you never underestimate your opponent.
No.
On any given Friday
I'll
night.
be honest, I did myself. Because I told you all, I came up with, I think, 9 different scenarios that could happen within that conference. Because there's a lot of
And
football
none
left
of them
to play.
involved Claiborne.
All of the scenarios involved Claiborne losing to Unicoi. So when I heard that Claiborne was up 27-6, I'm thinking, oh no.
Will you make that mistake again?
I just wasted all that for nothing. Well, here's the other thing. All those scenarios assume that Pigeon Forge loses to Gatlinburg Pittman too. So let's not have Gatlinburg Pittman slip up here and ruin that expectation that I had there. Because if so, all of those scenarios for nothing.
Right.
Because there's still a lot of football left to play in that conference. Chucky
Yes.
Doak still have to play Unicoi County and Gatlinburg-Pittman. Johnson County still has to play Unicoi County. Gatlinburg-Pittman has Pigeon Forge and Chucky Doak left.
Now, Unicoi County is up and down.
They are.
And when they're good, they're good.
Mhm.
When they're bad, they're horrid.
And
I
there's,
don't want to use the word horrid, but they're not as good.
yes, there's scenarios here where Chucky Doak finishes first in the conference. There's scenarios where they finish fourth in the conference.
Right.
There's
And-
scenarios where they finish second. There's scenarios they finish third. You don't know where you can finish. There's so much football left to play, like I said, because this week you've got GP and Pigeon Forge.
That's a rivalry game.
Yes.
Throw those records out the
Yep.
window.
You've got Chucky Doak and Unicoi. This is the one outlier. Johnson County plays Holston out of Virginia. I don't know anything about Holston,
I do not either.
so I don't know how that game's going to go. Looking at the records, it's about even. So I don't know how that's going to go.
Now, in Virginia, they usually play a little different style of football.
So that's a thing that could throw them off a little bit. I don't know. That's one of those where I created specific scenarios.
And in different parts
they
of
do
Virginia,
lose.
you have, I've watched them, because I'm older than dirt. I've watched them for 50 years. You have some areas that are really pass heavy. Then you have some areas that you may throw the ball 2 or 3 times a game.
Mhm.
So, which one of those does Holston fall under? I do not know.
I guess they'll find out coming this
Yeah.
Friday. They got 6 days to prepare, but yeah.
Well, they got 2 weeks to prepare. Well, no, they don't.
No, yeah, it's this week, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody knows how that conference is going to go.
No, that's a crapshoot.
Yeah, because I don't even know how the standings sit as of the moment. I just
I
made these
looked
scenarios.
at it yesterday,
I know GP's at the top,
and the best I could figure out is Gatlinburg-Pittman's going to finish first.
more than likely.
And and
That's the thing.
and
Chucky
Chucky
Doak's
Doak-
still in the driver's
and
seat.
Chuck, yes, but Chucky Doak, I don't know, and it may not mean anything to Coach Kaler, new coach coming in, but Gatlinburg-Pittman has shut down Chucky Doak's season the last 2 years.
It sort of started to
So
become
it,
a rivalry.
so it might become a rivalry game, and it might be in their head. Oh, place.
Interesting enough.
But I think Coach Kaler, it's not going to affect him because he wasn't here last year. He doesn't know anything about the rivalry, and that's a good thing because that's just one less thing for him to worry about.
But the players.
Yeah, but the players but it might be a problem because he's got to get that out of their head.
Yeah. Interesting enough, Gatlinburg-Pittman's coming to Lower Afton for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah.
3rd straight year they've had to come down to Lower Afton and play Chucky Doak. And like we mentioned, it sort of became a rivalry game because the ending of last year's game kind of left a sour taste in a lot of those players' mouths.
Last year, Gatlinburg-Pittman jumped out to the big league.
Yeah.
And then Chucky Doak figured out, hey, we can play with these guys.
Mhm.
And by the time they did that, they just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
They just didn't have enough time.
But yeah, some of these scenarios I came up with, like right here, Chucky Doak beats Unicoi County and Gatlinburg-Pittman. They finish first.
Yep.
But
They control their own destiny.
if Chucky Doak loses to Unicoi and Gatlinburg-Pittman, they finish 4th.
Yeah.
So this is a very important game with Unicoi County. This could decide whether you have a chance to win or whether you have a chance to pitch yourself 4th. And you do
Right.
not want to finish 4th
And the
because you
big
know who
thing
you're going to
is-
play if you finish 4th.
If you finish first or second, you stay home.
Yep.
And we've already talked about what happens to you when you go on the road. Everything's against you.
And you
The
know what
odds are
happens-
against you. Even if you're the better team, the odds are still against you. Because so many negative things happen to your program. So winning keeps you at home. And then winning increases your chances of winning.
And I know no Chucky Doak fan wants to hear this, but if you finish 4th, I think you know who you have to go play.
I think it's
Alcoa.
one of those teams that has something to do with aluminum foil or something, isn't it? Maybe they ought to just wear like aluminum foil hats to the game.
But yeah, this Unicoi County game, huge game for them. Maybe the biggest game for some of the teams coming up on the schedule now.
Oh yeah,
'Cause North Green has a non-conference game. South Green's non-conference. West Green's non-conference. Greeneville is conference and Chucky Doak is conference. But essentially, Chucky Doak's I think is more important because it factors in with the fact that you can finish fourth with a
Right.
fourth with a loss, and first with a win.
And they're one of the better teams in the conference.
They are.
And they've got the toughest road to hoe.
Mhm.
And they're one of the better teams in the conference. So I guess we'll see what they're made of in the next 2 weeks. And I'm sure they're looking at it. If we can come out of this next 2 games with a 500 record, we're in good shape. So this, I know you don't want to ever look as a loss as a good thing, but it could be with finishing 1-1 to end the season, because that could put you in second place, which still keeps you at home. Depending on which teams you beat, you can wind up in second place. Which in second place is, I know it's the first
terrible,
loser,
yeah.
but it's still better than third going on the road.
Hosting again too.
Yes, that's it keeps you at home. It keeps all your goals in line. Because I'm sure their goals in line were to win a conference championship, host a playoff game, win a playoff game, and they keep getting bigger and bigger as they go. So their top 3 goals are still alive.
Yep. And it's tough to top last year too. But last year I think set a lot of expectations for the players themselves, knowing what they could accomplish. Because like you said, Coach Kaler coming in wasn't with the program last year. To be quite frank, a lot of the coaches within the program now weren't there last year because a lot of the coaches left. But the players themselves know what they can accomplish. They know what they did last year. Best season in program history.
Oh, yeah.
Conference champions, deepest run they've ever had. The year before they had another successful year.
They did.
They're a very winning class.
Oh, yeah.
They're one of the most winning classes probably in Chucky Dope's history when you look at it.
And everything runs behind Bradenton Mervin.
Yeah.
If he has a great game running the football, that slows down that rush on Plaza where he can throw a ball out the treadway.
Mm-hmm. Or Rush.
Or Rush, yes.
Yeah. Rush is the biggest spark plug on that
So
team.
everything, to me, looking from the outside looking in, everything runs through Mervin. If Mervin has this game where he carries the ball 22 times for 166 yards, you can put a W up.
But man, how quickly has this season flown by?
Oh man, it's just.
It seems like it's flown by quicker than previous.
Yeah, and the older you get, the quicker it's going to go.
Don't say that. I don't want to get old.
It does. It does. It's going to happen.
It's bound to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's like I was talking with Wayne Phillips last night. I was pointing out somebody, and I was like, "Yeah, he's got gray hair now." He's like, "Happens to the best of us." I was like, "Well, Wayne, it happens to all of us. You can't avoid it.
He has hair.
You can't avoid it." Wayne getting another shout out. That's 2 weeks in a row. Wayne Phillips is getting a shout out on here.
Yeah.
We love Wayne.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Shout out to Wayne Phillips once again.
That's 3.
But you watching college football today?
Oh yeah.
This is a good week for college football.
It is.
You got a lot of ranked matchups.
Yeah, we do. The Tennessee game is not a ranked matchup because A&M is not ranked, but we all know that A&M is one of the best teams in the country, regardless if they got numbers beside their name or not. That's a good one. Tonight's game, USC and Notre Dame. Do not be surprised if Notre Dame wins this game 31-23.
Another game to look forward to, Washington,
Oregon, 7-8.
Matchup.
Yes, with
two Heisman
candidates.
Yeah.
Well, that's
candidates. That's a better word.
Yeah. What'd you call them?
Finalists, but they're not finalists.
No, they're not
potentially
finalists. They're
will be. Yeah.
Yeah, with Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. Yeah, I call him a turncoat. He left Alabama or left Auburn. Yeah. He left the SEC to go out there to the Pac-12 where he can actually play.
He's got better talent though. Let's be honest.
But he couldn't make it in the SEC.
I don't know if anybody could have made it with that Auburn team.
I think he put Caleb Williams in the SEC and he wouldn't have won the Heisman last year.
You don't think so?
Nope.
I bet you're going to be a Caleb Williams hater today.
I'm not a Caleb Williams hater.
I know, but
I just think he's overrated.
He's playing Notre Dame.
I think he's overrated.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
I don't know if he's truly a once-in-a-lifetime talent like a lot of people are saying, but I do think he's a top pick.
I don't know that he's a number 1 pick.
You don't think so?
Not the number 1 pick. He's a first-round pick. Just because he's playing at USC with Jerry Rice's son catching these touchdown passes, and every offensive lineman in the country has got USC on their short list to go to school there.
You know who I think the number 1 pick should be? Speaking of a junior, Marvin Harrison Jr. Wide receiver. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Has there ever been
Look
a wide
at all
receiver
these
take
NFL
number 1?
players' sons playing now. Dion's got 2. Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison junior
Mm-hmm.
They also seen another one last night, E.J. Smith. That's Emmitt Smith's son.
Yeah. I forget that he has a son in college now.
We got a lot of them playing
Mm-hmm.
out there now. So props to the NFL guys raising their kids right.
But Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know if I've seen a receiver prospect quite like him. He's insane to watch play.
He's had some pretty good quarterbacks too, though.
What's that?
He's had some pretty good quarterbacks.
He has.
He's getting fed.
He has.
He's
yeah.
getting fed.
But he's insane.
But he's got a little bit too much mouth.
Does he? I've never heard him talk.
Oh yeah, he whined last year because he didn't win the trophy that
The Bladenkoff Award, yeah.
Yeah, that Jalen
Hyde
Hyde
deserved
walked
it.
away with.
I'm going to be honest. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a better wide receiver, but
But
Hyde deserved
had a
it
better
for the
year.
season. Yes. You look at who had the better season, and Jalen Hyde did.
He had the better
He did,
season.
yeah.
He did.
You can't look at talent in that situation because if you look at talent, then some of these players like LeBron James should have 10 MVPs if you look at talent. But
Brian James.
you don't look at talent; you look at seasons.
But you look at Jalen Hyde when he scored a touchdown last year. Handed the ball to the referee, walked away. He didn't do all the crazy stuff in there that Marvin Harrison did. He didn't draw attention to himself.
I can tell you somebody who does.
Oh, I know.
Shadur Sanders.
He does. Well, if you can, walk the walk, you can talk the talk.
I'm sure he wasn't flexing his watch last night.
No, he still threw for 400 yards.
He's going to.
He's a heck of a
going
ball
to.
player. They just haven't learned to close games yet.
Yeah.
And that'll come to them in time. Dion, a great coach out there. He's doing wonderful things. If I had a kid that was going to be playing Division I football, that would be my first stop, just because of his morals and his character, the way he does things with the kids. He runs and checks on them, makes sure they're going to class. He makes them pull their pants up, wear a decent shirt. Makes them grow up and be men. He wants them to be men and not boys with attitudes. And I like that. And I think he sets the example for way every coach ought to run his program. And he's got 2 kids in college. 3. No, he's got a daughter plays on the basketball team in college.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right. Didn't know that. I don't know if he's quite a first round pick either.
Shadur,
Yeah.
he's not a first round pick.
I've seen a lot of NFL
He has
scouts.
so much potential.
He does, but I don't know. He's one of those I don't know if I quite see it.
I see him being a gadget player in the NFL.
All
I
right.
see him being a gadget player, much like Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Like that. Maybe wide receiver, running back, kick returner, throw a few passes here and there. I see him doing something like that.
I'm still surprised you don't see the hype in Caleb Williams. I don't like the kid
Caleb-
apart. I don't like the kid
Oh,
as much as the next
no.
guy, but
No, I think he's a great young man. From what I see on TV, I think he's a great young man. I just think that he's hyped up a little higher than he should have been.
Okay.
Because last year, let's face it, if Hendon Hooker doesn't get hurt, he walks away with the Heisman.
keep going.
And we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I can understand it though, because I'll be honest,
And now he's looking at winning a Heisman 2 years in a row. Nothing hadn't been done since 1972.
hey,
He's not that good.
if Penix Jr. from Washington wins today,
Yeah,
He might become the favorite.
that would put him in the driver's seat.
and if Notre Dame wins,
Then you're looking at Hartman. He'd be in the driver's seat.
I don't think Hartman would be in the driver's seat. I think,
Hartman comes out today and goes
I'll be honest,
18 for 25, 270, 3 touchdowns, and Williams has a bad game and they beat USC. I think it puts him, if not in the driver's seat, it puts him in a seat.
if Penix wins, he's in the driver's seat. But Hartman, I think his odds increase.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look at that Louisville loss last week.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because as much as I hate to say it, you almost have to be a near undefeated team or a part of a near undefeated team to win the Heisman.
Right.
Race.
You got to be
I
a
hate
top
how it's like
10
that.
team.
Yes, because I
You do.
remember 10 years ago, Robert Griffin III won it, and Baylor was 7-5. They were barely ranked top 25, but he was the best player in
he
college
was the best
football.
college in football. Yeah.
But they don't care about that now.
No.
They don't care about that in any sports now. You look at MVPs across all sports, whoever the best player is on the best teams. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is now.
And the Heisman, to you, it may mean something, but to me, it's not like it used to be.
It's not like it used to be. No. It doesn't have the
And
hype
that's,
and
and
the
I think
speed.
that's because of ESPN. They've hyped it up so much that nobody cares about it anymore. It's fun. It's nice to have that trophy, and you got your name here with some of the greats of all time. But it's not like it was
I
50
agree.
years ago, 40 years, 30 years ago.
I'll be honest, going back to that Caleb Williams conversation, I don't quite know if I saw the hype in Bryce Young either.
No.
And I think you're seeing it right
I
now.
don't
with the
know.
Panthers.
Bryce Young was a heck of a ball player, and we got to wrap this up because Dalton's over here. I don't
He's
know if
giving us
saying,
the
I don't know if
signal.
he's saying
He's
I'm
winding
crazy
it
or
up.
wrapping it up.
He's winding it up. I think he's got to go. Mark, that's all we've got. We made it an hour
Yeah.
on only 2 teams. I think we can make it an hour on anything as much as we talk.
Yep.
That's all we've got this week. Thank you for watching this week's edition of the Pizza Inn